Arian Cornejo from BSBA 2B. Rizal's life, family, childhood, and early education. Each of us always have something memorable to say about our childhood. Although gone are the days when they remain essential to our totality as a person, once in a while we look back over those times when things were obviously simple yet exceptionally enjoyable. We might have listened curiously to make-believe stories, then, owing to our amusement, became part of our imaginative and inquisitive world. We might have been scolded for our strange behavior due to our innocence, which served as lesson for our moral development. We might have been forced to read and write despite our lack of interest, yet it equipped us with a strong foundation of a reason. We might have received bruises and wounds while playing carelessly at the garden or the street that help us develop our genuine care for nature and sense of social commitment. These and the other facts about us being kids at one point make up who we indeed are today. Thus, include it is conclusive to say that as much as ordinary people like us, our extraordinary national hero also had his share of vivid childhood reminiscence. This chapter will bring to the student of this course a closer view of the exciting life of the child named Jose. Birth of the first Filipino. It was just an ordinary midnight of June 19, 1861, until an infant first cry echoed in a house owned by a well-to-do family known by the surname Mercado. It was Wednesday, and the moon shone beautifully over the town of Calamba amidst the agricultural province of Laguna. Had it not been due to the divine providence, the infant mother could have died during her delivery. The newborn was given the full name Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonso Realonda, the apostle of Philippine freedom, and as reasonably branded with the late Honorable Leon Guerrero, the first Filipino. Guerrero, 2003, argued that Rizal was the first among the Indios to refer to himself as Filipino, as found in his work and writing. History has it that the people referred to as Filipinos at the time were, in fact, the Insulares or those Spaniards who were born in the Philippines archipelago, Ocampo 2012. These days later, Jose was christened in the town church by Father Rufino Colantes, and it was witnessed by his family, close relatives, and friends to the Mercados. His mother, Doña Todora Alonso Irialonda, a firm Catholic, chose Jose since she was a devotee of San Jose, the patron saint of workers. Side 2008. His father, Don Francisco Mercado y Alejandro, gave the second name Protasio as near to Protesto, as he thought wise to spell it. Craig, 1992. Despite this seemingly radical thought of naming his son, Rizal also was raised as a stern Catholic whose devotion included his regular pilgrimage to Antipolo in the nearby province of Morong, now known as the province of Rizal, aptly named after our national hero. Of naval ancestry. The family name Mercado has been given to Jose, great-grandfather, by their Chinese great-grandfather, Domingo Lam Cao in 1731, who migrated at the Philippines from Amoy, China, and whose succeeding generation had an essential place in society primarily topped by elite Spaniards. Again, in 1815, the Spanish Governor-General Narciso Claveria had decreed that Mercado should be the family name. Pride 1992. The Governor-General had indeed been pleased to grant names both new and old. through the royal decree of 1849 to a vast number of families all over the Spaniard occupied areas through the release of Catalogo Alfabetico de Apellidos or Catalog of the Alphabetical Surname, Ocampo 2010. However, it happened that Jose's father was a man of independent thought. To be called Mercado, which means market, crossed his mind to be unsuitable for an inquilino or tenant farmer. Don Francisco, called by the townsfolk as Manquikoy, was responsible for clearing, weeding, preparing fields, planting seedlings, raising them in until maturity, harvesting and preparing the crops for sale, and providing drafts, animal and tools. Santa Maria 2012. Therefore, he decided to modify his family surname and adopted the word Rizal, which meaning Greenfield, changed the spelling to Rizal, and give his children that name, just for the sake of his independent soul and his sense of fitness. However, Rizal himself revealed, I am the only Rizal because at home my friends, my sister, my brother, and my relatives have always preferred our old family name Mercado. Don Francisco's independent spirit, which his son and daughter inherited, did not get him into trouble that time, but it did later. If Jose Rizal inherited his free soul from his father, he inherited his genius mainly from his mother. Aling Lolay, as Doña Chodora came to be known in neighborhood, had ancestors and uncles by the dozen who had distinguished themselves as leaders and thinkers. Santa Maria 2012, her brother Gregorio Manuel and Jose Alberto were all unusual men. Her father Lorenzo Alberto Alonso was a distinguished engineer who had received the title of Knight of the Grand Order of Isabel the Catholic. One grandfather was attorney Manuel de Quintos. The other grandfather was Captain Cipriano Alonso. At least three of her great-grandfathers were captain, and one of these came from the famous Florentino family at the time. Craig 1992. The Ilustrado family. Both Jose's parents were educated in well-established school at the time. Don Francisco studied at the Colegio de San Jose in Manila, while Doña Teodora completed her education at the Colegio de Santa Rosa, a prestigious college for girls in Manila. Jose described Manquicoy as a great model, attributed to his honesty, frugality, productiveness, composure, and profound dignity. Jose described Aling Lolay as a woman of discipline, culture, literature, and religion. She was a good wife and a mother of warm affection. Both of his parents were source of virtues of vision and self-sacrifice. The Mercados and Alonsos belonged to the Principalia, that is to say, they had enough land and money to raise a living. Stone houses, which were among the first of its kind in the town of Calamba, sari-sari store of no other competitors, horses that only affluent families could own, preferences in civic and in religious procession. They were the ilustrados, that is to say they could read, write, and figure, owned the most extensive built-in library in Calamba, subscribed to newspaper, traveled abroad, they went to court, and they were oriented entirely on the dynamics of political, economical, and social affairs of the time. Guerrero, 2003. Other members of a remarkably affectionate family are as follows. Breakdown. 1992. Saturnina, the eldest, born in 1850. Pasiano, the only brother, born in 1851. Narcisa, born in 1852. Olympia, born in 1855. Lucia, born in 1857. Maria, born in 1859, were all older than him. The younger sisters were Josefa, born in 1865, and Trinidad, born in 1868, and Soledad, the youngest, born in 1870. As a matter of fact, in between Jose and Josefa, there was Concepcion, also called Concha, born in 1862, who only lived for 3 years and died of illness. He could remember very well the death of Concha. Thus, he recounted Guerrero 2003. For the first time, I wept tears of love and grief, for until then I had only shed them out of stubbornness, which my loving and prudent mother knew so well how to correct. His parents and siblings fondly called Jose as Ute among his friends and acquaintances, especially during his Ateneo days. Jose was known by the nickname Pepe, as people of the time used to call anyone Jose by such. It was so since the Latin for foster father is pater putativus, shortened by the Spanish as Fefe, pronounced as Pefe, and converted into Pepe, Santa Maria 2012. Jesus Christ's foster father is Joseph, or in Spanish, Jose. The religious Mercado family could trace back to their affluent ancestry. The fact that Doña Chidora almost died upon giving birth to Jose subsequently made her bout on filmy grade. To the Virgin of Peace and Good Voyage in Antipolo. In effect, the Mercado children were bred in firm Catholic environment and grew up morally upright. Jose and his siblings were trained to offer prayer all together each day, like the Angelus at dusk and Rosary before resting to bed. They were accompanied to hear Mass in the town church during Sundays and Christian feast days. At 5 years of age, Jose was able to read. Though short of fluency, the Spanish Family Bible is known during the time as Historia Sagrada from Craig 1992. Jose's profound religiosity would be challenged and put at risk eventually as he faced many adversaries while fighting for social reform. In later life, Jose's sibling would instead become his primary support to his vision of bringing transformation in the land they claimed for all the oppressed natives. Each member of the Mercado family, both parent and sibling, played crucial roles in the formation of his heroic consciousness. On, the, on this note, the hero we have came to know as Jose Rizal was surrounded and molded by likely heroes as well. Memories and stories like no other. The Mercado family had a simple and happy life. Mang Kikoy and Aling Lolay loved their children. They reared them in a strong faith and proper etiquette. They were taught to give respect and show obedience to their elders. They inculcated of social custom like kissing and hands of their parent. The younger ones were taught to address their elder sister politely with Senora and their brothers with Senor. Side and Side 2008. Jose grew up in a two-story house in which the first floor was built with a stone that was typically a home of notable family at the time, Craig 1992. On the ground floor was his mother's little store that had its separate way to the open street. There was also a camarin, a vast storehouse where rice and sugar was kept. The family resided on the second floor made out of concrete wood. Here were the living room, bedroom, kitchen, bathroom, and toilet facilities. The dining room boasted a carved heavy wooden table and high back chairs popular at the time, and could likely accommodate many other guests during personal affairs. Santa Maria 2012. Among the regular meals of the Mercado family included relleno adobo, estofado, puchero, morcon, tinola, fried chicken, ayungin, pansit, sardinas, sikasor, tuyo. The favorite dish of the child Jose was carne asada or beef steak, accompanied by delicious sauce. He also loved champorado and made his version of it many instances. The children were well fed of a mixture of ordinary and exquisite dishes at the time. Santa Maria 2012. The house had a private library which consisted books of more than 1,000 volumes. It had a grand veranda called azotea that featured a collection of large clay jars for storing rainwater. From the children used to watch the people passing by the street below, and at night the moon and the star above them, and in that very place many stories had also been told them by either the mother or their ayahs. They told of many enchanting tales, fascinating legends, and fantastic stories. Jose even got scared by the ayah that he would taken by a creepy beings like a swang, nuno, tikbalang, or a strange bearded man if he would not take his supper. Among the stories he heard, it was his mother's fable about the moth that appeared to leave him an everlasting fascination. It was one late night when the whole Mercado family was sleeping except Jose and his mother that such a story was narrated in full. He was inattentive and busy doodling on some pages of book while Doña Chidora was teaching him to read in Spanish, a proof that she was the hero's first teacher. Soon he was allured by the flame contained in an oil lamp and the moth circling about it. Then his mother stopped a little while and told the child who said to listen for she was about to read him an incredible story. In his delight of hearing the word story, Jose settled down to listen with a complete curiosity and expectation. So the fable of the moth was related by Doña Chidora. The story was that a young moth that was mesmerized by the beautiful flame flew closer it despite its mother's warning not to do so. Soon dazzled until it got consumed by the flame and perished in it. Jose's thoughts were stuck at the dreadful fate of the insect and never realized that the story had come to an end. After its narration, Doña Chidora warned Jose that if he could not adhere to the advice of his parent, he would likely suffer the same thing as to that of the young moth. On this note, the fable could serve fittingly the allegory of the young insurgent charmed by the light of the reason who died in it as well. Very much like the fate of Jose Rizal, Guerrero 2010. Behind this stone house was a large garden filled with trees including atisantol, makopa, duhat, sampalok, papaya, nangka, coffee orange, kamiyas, chico, tampoy, balimbing, cashew, and coconut, all of which became abode to different species of birds like Maya, Calaw, Maria Capra, and Martinez Pipit that rendered a hymn and orchestrated a concert as the sun slowly vanished behind the mountain of Laguna. He and his sister often rushed to pick fruit that fell to the ground. Santa Maria 2012. They plucked fruits from lobes long branches. Were also some varieties of flowers whose aroma roamed around the area. Jose spent much time in this place where a small nipa hut stood, constructed by Don Francisco for his children, Side 2008. Jose was also presented by his father a donkey named Alipato and a dog named Isman. This pet and garden made him closer to nature, over which he developed a deep sense of prudence and affection. This childhood bliss away brought back memories to those that he would treasure for the rest of his life. The town that inspired a hero. Calamba was located in the midst of rich agricultural region in Laguna, the lake province of Luzon, famed from coconuts on the hillside and sugarcane in the valleys. It is enclosed between the vast Laguna de Bay and enchanted by Mount Makiling. It endowed the area with a breathtaking landscape and comforting nature that tenderly fondles the townsfolk for dawn to twilight. The Dominican friars virtually owned the town of Calamba and its haciendas at the time. Hence, the Spanish family were only renting at the land. They tilled and were subject to pay taxes, mostly excessive in money or kind. Constantino 2005. This system known as encomienda became an instrument of unscrupulous friars for their gain. It left the people vulnerable to many forms of cruelty and discrimination. However, despite these challenging circumstances, life in Calamba offered much better opportunities than the other town in and out of Laguna. Just like many other children of Calamba, Jose captured by the striking impression of their town and there, he developed his powerful sense dedicated to poetry and visual art. His town essentially became one of his elated inspiration in his life, bounded by many challenges. When a few years later Rizal recalled those happy days of his childhood in Calamba, he revealed his heart in the poem entitled En Recuerdo a mi Pueblo, in memory of my town. Many splendid talents. Jose was designed by nature to be an artist. This he revealed before he was 5 years of age, for without any assistance from others, he began to draw with his pencil and would mold objects in wax or clay. His parents, including his uncles, recognized this exceptional talent and gave him all the encouragement they offered the boy, an almost ideal environment for the building of genius. Side and Side 2008. Uncle Jose Alberto, a fine artist himself, helped him develop his innate gift in arts. Uncle Gregorio, a tireless reader, often lectured the eager child on the foundation of success and profound logic that were immensely important for an open-minded boy like him in learning 20 languages in his later life. Uncle Manuel, a sport and fitness enthusiast, encouraged him to nurture his free body by way of athletic drill, martial arts, and physical exercises. Jose, in all proportion, was endowed with many skills and talents, over which he had full exploit in his later life. His deep sensibilities in visual art amazed everybody, though sometimes he was teased by his sibling due to his seemingly simple craft. One time, the young boy Jose was seen in his bahay kubo by Señoras molding a clay figure which appeared to be a Napoleon Bonaparte, the most significant French conqueror in the early part of the 19th century. His sister laughed at him, but in natural defense of his masterpiece, he remarked that the people would eventually create a standing monument in his image. Campo 2012. An essential factor in Jose's development was the realization of his relatives that they were dealing with a child of many gifts. Their determination not to crush his tender genius, his father insisted that all the customary subject he must learn not only well, but very well. For many months he kept an old man in the family to teach the boy the beginning of Latin. Guerrero 2003. Another happy influence in building Jose's character was the priest who lived in the convent, just around the corner from the Rizal home. Father Leoncio Lopez was a rational thinker with a broad intelligence and sound judgment, Side and Side 2008. He loved children, but above all, the eager little boy who asked serious leading questions about the things he had heard his elder says. Years later, in Noli Me Tangere, one of Rizal's pair of novels, he paid a beautiful tribute to Father Leoncio perhaps, too. He had this beloved old priest in mind when El Filibusterismo he makes Father Florentino, other the most famous of all quotation from the prose writing. Where are the youth who will consecrate their rosy hours, dream their dreams and their enthusiasm for the welfare of their motherland? When Jose was 9 years old, he was sent to the school for boys in the town of Binyan, where his uncle Jose Alberto was residing. His teacher was Senor Justiniano Aquino Cruz. He was a strict practitioner with ancient method of pounding knowledge not only into the eye and ear but also into the palm. He used an especially tight switch for this purpose. Had it not been taught, it would soon have worn out. Jose's childhood story preserves his memories of just teacher where he recounted, I used to win in the competition for nobody happened to be better than I. Of this success I made the most, despite the reputation I had of being a good boy. Rare were the days when the teacher did not call me up to receive 5 or 6 blow up on the hand. How it hurt. Then, few months later, Jose was instructed to go home because he had learned all there was to be taught at Binyan. When his father found it out, Jose was scolded and hurried back to the school. Senor Justiniano told Don Francisco that the boy's statement was true, so in 1871, Jose left Binyan for the Christmas vacation. Craig, 1992. The Mercado family, or might as well now call Rizal, as it will appear in the following chapter, was determined that Jose should continue his education in Manila. He was making preparation to depart when injustice occurred, which threw the first shadow across his happy young life. His mother was thrown into prison accused of a crime of which she was so wholly incapable of being that everybody knew it was a pure fabrication. The charge against her was that she had conspired with her brother Alberto to kill his wife, who had separated from him. The real reason of the arrest, as everybody in the town well knew, was the honest, independent Don Francisco had been too frank in dealing with two Spanish officials and in denying them of their requests a feed for their horses, and that this man now sought to wreak revenge on the father of Jose by arresting his mother. The poor Doña Teodora was forced to walk from Calamba to Santa Cruz, a distance of 50 kilometers, and upon reaching there, she was imprisoned at the provincial jail for 2 years. Rizal's, Rizal's first teacher was his mother. Rizal's early informal education. Rizal's first teacher was his mother, who was a remarkable woman of good character and fascinating culture. At the very young age of 3, he learned the alphabet and the prayer My Mother, wrote Rizal in his student memoirs, taught me how to read and to say heartily the humble prayers which I raised fervently to God. Doña Chodora was understanding, patient, and a conscientious tutor of Pepe. It was she who first discovered that her son had the talent of poetry. Accordingly, accordingly, she encouraged him to write poems, to lighten the monotony of memorizing the alphabets and to stimulate her son's imagination. She related many stories. As Jose grew older, his parents employed private tutors to give him lessons at home. The first was Maestro Celestino and the second is Maestro Lucas Padua. Later on, Later an old man named Leon Monroy, a former classmate of Rizal's father, became the boy's tutor. This old teacher lived at the Rizal home and instructed Jose in Spanish and Latin. Unfortunately, he did not live long. He died 5 months later. After Monroy's death, Rizal's parents decided to send their gifted son to private school in Binyan. The Mercado family enjoyed the relatives' affluence as landowners who leased the land of their hacienda to the Dominican friars in Laguna. Hence, education was the prime concern for the Mercado family, and young Jose Protasio was sent to learn from Justiniano Aquino Cruz, a tutor from adjacent Binyan, Laguna. However, the capability of small town and tutor did not really quench the young man's thirst for education, and soon the family decided to prepare for his new endeavor for his admission to the Ateneo Municipal de Manila in the capital of the Philippines. This school, administered by the Jesuit order, was one of the most distinguished academic institutions in the country, which catered to the rich, the powerful, and most intelligent student the country had. Indeed, a place for a young man like Jose Protasio Mercado. President's events in the Ignatian life. Pasiano, Rizal's brother, was studying at Colegio de San Jose under the tutelage of Father Jose Burgos. Cavite Mutiny took place on January 20, 1872, led by the Sergeant La Madrid. Gomburza execution February 17, 1872, and the arrest of his mother, Doña Chadora. Rizal took and passed the entrance test in Letran. Rizal matriculated in Ateneo on June 10, 1872. School Binyan, inclusive years 1869-1871, age started 9. Ateneo Municipality on year 1872 and 1877 for the year in the age of 16. Santa Isabel's College or 1873-1874, unknown age, course of Spanish private lesson. University of Santo Tomas 1877 to 1878, age 17, philosophy and letters. University of the Santo Tomas 1872, 21, medicine. Universidad Central de Madrid 1882, 21, philosophy and letters. Universidad Central de Madrid 1882, 1884, 23, medicine, specialization ophthalmology. Paris 1885, 24, the practice of eye specialization. University of Eye Hospital 1886, 25, the practice of eye specialization. University of Leipzig 1886, 25, lecture on history and physiology and psychology. University of Heidelberg 1887, 26, completed his eye specialization. University of Paris 1887, 26, attended classes. Table 1, timeline of Rizal's education. First day in Binyan. The next morning, Monday, Pasiano brought his dear brother to Maestro Justiniano Aquino Cruz. The school was within the vicinity of the teacher, after which she left to return to Calamba. According to Jose Rizal, his teacher in Binyan was tall, thin, long neck, with sharp nose and body slightly bent forward, and he used to wear sinamay shirt, woven by the skilled hands of women of Batangas. He knew my heart grammars by Nebrija and Gainsa. First school brawl. In the afternoon of his days in school, when the teacher was having his siesta, Jose met the bully Pedro. He was annoyed at this intimidator for making fun of him during his discussion with the teacher in the morning. Jose challenged Pedro to a fight. The latter quickly agrees, thinking that he could easily beat the Calamba boy, who was smaller and younger. The boys grappled furiously in the classroom, much to the elation of their classmates. Jose, having learned the art of fighting from his athletic Tio Manuel, he defeated the bigger boy. For this feat, he He became well liked among his classmates. In the afternoon after school, a classmate named Andesa Ladanan challenged him to an arm wrestling match. They went to the sidewalk of a house and wrestled with their arms. Jose, having the weedy arm, lost and nearly cracked his head on the sidewalk. In succeeding days, he had the other fight with the boys of Binyan. He was quarrelsome by nature, but he never ran away from the fight. Painting lesson in Binyan. Near the school was the house of an old painter called Juancho, who was the father-in-law of the school teacher. Jose, because of his love for painting, spent many leisure hours at the painter's studio. Old Juancho freely gave him lessons in drawing and painting. He was excited by the artistic talent of the Colamba young man. Best student in school. In academic studies, Jose beat all Binyan boys. He transcended them in all in Spanish, Latin, and other subjects. And schooling in Binyan. In 1870, before the Christmas season, Jose received a letter from his sister Saturnina informing him of the arrival of the steamer Talim, which would take him from Binyan to Calamba. After reading the letter, he had an intuition that he would not return to Binyan, so that he beamed sad. He prayed in the town church, collected pebbles in the river for souvenirs, and regretfully bade farewell to his teacher and classmate. He left Binyan on Saturday afternoon, December 17, 1870. After 1 year and a half of schooling in the town, he was free to take passage on the steamer Talim, for it was the first time he ever rode a steamer. On board was a Frenchman named Arturo Camps, a friend of his father who took care of him. Life and Studies at Ateneo, 1870 to 1877. On June 10, 1872, Jose, accompanied by Pasiano, went to Manila. He took the examination on Christian doctrine, reading and arithmetic at the College of San Juan de Letran, and passed them. He returned to Calamba to stay a few days with his family and to attend to the town fiesta. His father, who first wished him to study at Letran, changed his mind and decided to send him to Ateneo instead. Upon his return to Manila, Jose, again accompanied by Pasiano, enrolled at the Ateneo Municipal. At first, Father Magin Ferrando, who was college registrar, refused to admit him for two reasons. He was late for registrar, and he was sickly and undersized for his age. Rizal was then 11 years old. However, upon the intercession of Manuel Leres Burgos, nephew of Father Burgos, he was reluctantly admitted at the Ateneo. Jose Rizal was the first of his family to embrace the surname Rizal. He registered under this name at the Ateneo because their family named Mercado as his surname at the College of San Jose, and he was known to the authorities as Father Burgos' favorite student and confidant. The Ateneo during this college day of Jose was located in Intramuros, within the walls of Manila. Rizal first lodged in a house outside Intramuros on Caravalo Street, 25 minutes walk from the college. The lodging house was owned by a spinster named Titay, who owed the Rizal family the amount of 300 pesos. Jose boarded at Titay Place in order to collect part of the debt. Jesus system of education. The system of education given by the Jesuits in Ateneo was more advanced than the other colleges at that period. It trained the student to have a good character through rigid discipline and religious instruction. It promoted material culture. humanities, and scientific studies aside from academic course leading to the degree of Bachelor of Arts. It offered vocational courses in agriculture, commerce, mechanics, and surveying. The students shared mass in the morning before the beginning of the daily class. Classes in every subject were opened and closed with prayer. First class in Ateneo, 1872 and 1873. On his first day of class in Ateneo, June 1872, Rizal first heard Mass at the college chapel and prayed fervently to God for guidance and success. When the Mass finished, he went to his class where he saw a significant number of boys, Spaniard, mestizos, and Filipinos. Rizal's first professor in Ateneo was Father Jose Beck, whom he described as a tall, thin, and with a body slightly bent forward, a hurried walk, and ascetic face, severe inspired, small, deep sunken eyes, a sharp nose that was almost Greek, and thin lips forming an arc whose end fell toward the chin. As a newcomer who knew little Spanish, Rizal was placed at the back of the class. He was externo. Hence, he was assigned to the Carthaginians, occupying the end of the line. After the first week, the infirm Columba boy advanced swiftly. At the end of the month, he became emperor. He was a dazzling pupil in the whole class, and he was awarded a prize. How pleased I was, he said, when I won my first prize, a religious picture. He was proud of it because it was the prize he ever won at the Ateneo. To boost his Spanish, Rizal took private lessons in Santa Isabel College during noon recesses. When other Ateneo students were playing or chatting, he paid 3 pesos for those auxiliary Spanish lessons, but it was money well spent. Second year in Ateneo, 1973 to 1974. Nothing, second year in Ateneo, 1873 to 1874. Nothing unusual happened during Rizal's second term in the Ateneo, except that he got remorseful having failed to look after his studies the past year simply because he was upset by the teacher's remark. So, to get back his lost class leadership, he studied harder. Once he became emperor. Some of his classmates were new. Among them were 3 boys from Binyan, who had been his classmate in the school of Maestro Justiniano. Jose Rizal conferred excellent grades in all subjects and gold medal during the end of the school year. With such a scholastic honor, he jubilantly returned to Calamba in March 1874 for the summer vacation. Third year in Ateneo, 1875 to 1875. In June 1874, Rizal returned to the Ateneo for his junior year. Shortly after the opening of the class, his mother arrived and joyously told him that she was released from prison, just as he had predicted during his last visit to her prison cell in Santa Cruz, Laguna. He was happy, of course, to see his mother once more a free woman. However, despite the family happiness, Rizal did not make an excellent showing in his studies as in the previous year. His grade remains excellent in all subjects, but he won only 1 medal in Latin. He failed to win the medal in Spanish because his spoken Spanish was not fluently sonorous. He was beaten by a Spaniard who naturally could speak Spanish with fluency and with right accentuation. accentuation. When March 1875 end of the school year, Rizal went home to Calamba for the summer vacation. He was not impressed by his academic work. Fourth year in Ateneo, 1875 to 1876. After the refreshing and happy summer vacation, Rizal went back to Manila for his fourth year course. On June 16, 1875, he became an interno in Ateneo. One of his professors this time was Father Francisco de Paulo Sanchez, a great educator and scholar. He became an admirer and friend of the slender Calambala, whose God-given genius he saw and recognized. On his part, Rizal had the highest affection and respect for Father Sanchez, whom he considered his best professor in Ateneo. In his student memoirs, Rizal wrote of Father Sanchez in glowing terms, showing his affection and gratitude. He described the Jesuit professor as model of uprightness, earnestness, and love for his pupil. Last year in Ateneo, 1876 to 1877. After the summer vacation, Rizal returned to Manila in 1876 for his last year in Ateneo. His studies continued to fare well. As a matter of fact, he excelled in all subjects, the most brilliant Atenean of his time. He was indeed the pride of Giswa. Rizal finished his last year at the Ateneo in a blaze of glory. He gained the highest grade in all subjects: philosophy, physics, biology, chemistry, language, mineralogy, etc. Graduated with high honors. Rizal graduated head of his class. His scholastic record received a top mark in all subjects at the Ateneo from 1872 to 80, as to be followed. 1872, 1873, Arithmetic, Latin 1, Spanish 1, Greek 1. 1874 to 1876 is Rhetoric, French, Geometry, Trigonometry. 1873 to 1874, History of Spain and the Philippines, Arithmetic, Philosophy, Mineralogy, Chemistry, Philosophy, Physics, Botany, and Zoology. Before his admission in the prominent learning institution, his older brother Paciano Rizal Mercado made a stand that Jose dropped the surname Mercado to ensure that the younger Mercado will break away from the agitational reputation of his older brother. Thus, the young man known as Jose Protasio Rizal enrolled at the Ateneo Municipal de Manila. Being the child of a family of wealthy landowners, Jose Rizal decided to study for a degree in land surveying and assessment at the Ateneo de Municipal de Manila, where he graduated on March 14, 1877, with honors or sobresaliente. He took and passed the licensure exam for land surveying and assessment in 1878, but was not given a license until 1881 when he turned 21. In 1878, after the completion of his degree from Ateneo Municipal de Manila, he pursued his passion for the arts, as he enrolled at the Faculty of Arts and Letters for a degree in philosophy at the University of Santo Tomas. Although he excelled at philosophy, the news of his mother's impending blindness convinced him to take up medicine, and in 1878 he enrolled in the Faculty of Medical Science at University of Santo Tomas to specialize in ophthalmology. Thank you.